All right, and we are live again tonight. So the coronavirus is definitely providing an unexpected tailwind, I would say, for gold and silver. It is causing bottlenecks, it is causing distortions, it is causing severe problems in the gold and silver supply chain. It is causing refiners to, as a precaution, to shut down. There's rumors at the U.S. Mint that someone there has the coronavirus and it spread, and that's why the U.S. Mint has temporarily shut down. I believe they're also having problems, at least for a while, sourcing some physical silver. And then, of course, some countries, whether it is Peru or now Mexico, as you can see there on your screen, the two largest, I believe, countries for silver production, Peru and Mexico, accounting for an enormous amount of annual global silver production, have both the governments have ordered temporary shutdown of mines. So the gold and silver prices are rallying again. The swings for the paper gold price were enormous today, over $50 swings. The gold futures contract got as high as $1,688.40 and got as low as $1,610.20. It is now at $1,653. Silver is slightly above $15 when we're doing this live stream show. Steve St. Angelo, who does a really good job on tracking the silver miners, put out an article a few days ago on the global silver supply collapse on its way. Mexico mining suspension to hit silver supply due to Mexico's Ministry of Health issuing an executive order for the immediate suspension of non-essential activities until April 30th. The mining industry in the country has now come to an abrupt halt. The mining industry was hoping for an exemption to the executive order. Apparently in Nevada, I didn't know this, I learned this last week, in Nevada, gold mining is an essential business. So a gold mine, if you're looking for specific short-term trades, gold mines operating in Nevada are, as of now, allowed to continue to operate unless they have coronavirus there. But gold miners are allowed in Nevada at least to operate. That is benefiting America's gold and silver this junior. So that's not financial advice, just my opinion. It is a junior, it is risky, it is speculative. There are a lot of problems that can happen with a mine, especially a company that only has one mine. But they are bringing that mine online in the, looks like, next couple weeks, maybe a month or so. The first gold pour was not too long ago, and it's ramping up to commercial production, and the state government in Nevada has not shut them down yet. So that would be potentially a trade, not an investment. I do not like a lot of the junior miners. A lot of them are extremely poorly run. Although Sandstorm Gold does have a gold stream with America's Gold and Silver on the Relief Canyon mine. Okay, back to the article. Granted, the mining industry was hoping for an exemption to the executive order, but was not granted one. So companies are now suspending production and putting their mines on care and maintenance. This hurts the miner. Go and listen to my mining stock education series, the lecture series, about care and maintenance and how the miner is not generating cash flow, and this will hurt balance sheets for some of the miners. So the miner is not generating cash flow, and now they have more expenses and they don't have cash flow. So hopefully the miners have cash, because capital markets are not kind to the miners. There is not private placements really or bought deals available for financing for most of these miners. And this was the case for most of 2019 and also early 2020, when gold and silver prices were higher prior to them temporarily crashing with the enormous margin call that some people are claiming did not happen. Okay, according to the article on Mining Journal website, Mexico mining suspension to its silver supply. Under the government decree, non-essential activities are to be suspended immediately until April 30th. The decision is expected to have a significant impact on the supply of silver at a time when demand for silver coins is very high. Go and look at the premiums for silver coins. My Patreon account contributor, Denny, sent me an interesting link. He is tracking, shout out to Denny, he is tracking this on eBay, that the finished sales for Silver Eagles, and some of these Silver Eagles are selling right now for way above $24. So it depends on the grade. Some of these are, I guess, mint. Some of these are not just regular bullion, but the Silver Eagles are selling at even larger premiums. Numismatics, excuse me, are rarer, and people do collect these for numismatics, but even non-numismatic grade Silver Eagles are still selling at an enormous premium. I have the search link up now, and there's a lot of Silver Eagles of different dates selling for way above $24 on here. And the silver price, the paper silver price, is only $15, so there's at least a $9 premium on a lot of these silver coins still. The gold coins, I have AppMex website up. Right now, you cannot get a physical ounce of gold at the bullion dealer for anywhere near the paper spot price of $1,653. If you were to go to AppMex right now, AppMex tends to be a little bit higher, but they're a very quality bullion dealer. AppMex is selling different 1 ounce gold eagles for $1,870, right around there. And some of them they're already out of. There's a lot of alert me's here. So they're running on back order, looks like, for quite a bit. Okay, back to the article here. Okay, Mexico is the world's largest silver producer at some 23% of world production and produced more than 200 million ounces in 2019, up from 196.6 million ounces in 2018, with Mexico shutting down its mines, including the continued closure of Peru's mining industry announced on March 15th. Nearly 40% of global silver production is now offline. Add to that the bottleneck, the problems in the supply chain, because what happens with gold and silver miners normally is they produce something called a doré bar, and it's not fully refined gold or silver. So the people who are saying that the silver miners should just abandon the COMEX, the silver miners make doré bars. That's normally the farthest along the value chain that the gold and silver miners go. So they make a doré bar and then they ship it off to the refiners. And then the refiners are the ones who separate that doré bar into either 4/9 kilo bars for gold, or gold coins, or gold bars, or silver coins, or silver bars. So there's bottlenecks, there's supply shock, there's bottlenecks, and there's coronavirus distorting all of these things. And this is benefiting gold and silver. So on top of that, you have all the craziness that all the central banks are doing. The Fed's balance sheet is going to go absolutely bonkers in the next 12 months. Probably at least 10 trillion. The official balance sheet will be in the next 12 to 18 months. Might even be higher than that. We'll have to see. The news story I just saw out was that the IMF is now proposing to give even more dollar loans. So that's how desperate things are. I didn't know things were that bad, because look at the global repo, look at the two currency swap lines, look at the Fed doing open-ended QE, and now here we are, the IMF is now even considering dollar loans to emerging markets too, to help with the dollar shortage. Okay, Peru's government stated that the national quarantine would last 15 days. However, we have passed that point and there is no announcement of a return back to work. Here are the top 10 silver producing countries in the world in 2018. Good graphic from Steve St. Angelo, courtesy of the World Silver Survey in his article here. That Mexico has 197 million ounces per year. Peru has 145 million ounces. China has 115 million ounces. Russia has 43. Chile has 42. Poland and Bolivia are tied at 40. And in Australia, USA, and Argentina are both below 40 to round out the list. In 2018, Mexico and Peru accounted for 342 million ounces of silver production. If mines in Mexico and Peru remain shut down for a month, that will cut silver production by 28 million ounces. So each month that Mexico and Peru are offline would reduce silver mine supply by 28 million ounces. However, he believes we are going to see more countries shut down their mines for an extended period as the global contagion continues to spread. Okay, some of these miners have been forced to shut down their mines for at least 14 days. It's still ongoing. Some of these miners still have a lot of cash in the balance sheet, so it just depends. You have to go in there and look at individual mining companies. If they have cash on the balance sheet, if they put their mines in care and maintenance, if they have plenty of cash in the balance sheet and the mines are shut down for a couple weeks or a month or two, it's not as big a deal as for a miner that does not have a lot of cash on the balance sheet. Again, the capital markets are not kind right now to miners. They were not kind to miners when metals prices were rallying again for most of 2019 and the first couple of months of 2020 before gold and silver paper prices crashed on the margin call. There was not a lot of capital available directly for the miners to raise for financings, for private placements, or bought deals. The person who knows this more than anyone else is Nolan Watson, because a lot of the funding deals come across his desk. You can also listen to the conference calls for the other royalty and streaming companies, the larger ones, because they talk about deal flow and what types of deals are turning down or what types of deals that are being brought to their desks. They've I've listened to a lot of those conference calls over the years. You can read conference call transcripts. So a lot of these refiners, some of the mints, all having problems right now. The gold to silver ratio, wanted to bring that up. Gold to silver ratio has come down substantially. I believe it got up to, I think, almost 128 or right around 120. Yeah, a little over 128, I think. no, a little bit below 128 here in the chart on goldprice.org. So it got as high, I think, on the March 19th, right around 127, 126.58. And now the gold to silver ratio has come down. It is at briefly at 107, I think. It's at 109 right now, 109.34 on live tracking. Meanwhile, the dollar index has continued to be strong despite all these crazy announcements showing the problems in the global economy. Dollar index is still over 100. Steve St. Angelo also has articles here about the U.S. Silver Eagle sales, and he just put out another article today on premiums. The premiums range between $6.50 and $10 an ounce based on the dealer, according to the article he just put out today. So the discrepancy between getting an ounce of physical gold and the paper price is a very, very big discrepancy. Almost 400 people watching the live stream and only 62 likes. I focus on the content. Please smash the like button, though. I'd appreciate it. Well, so force majeure to settle all banks short out for pennies on the dollar. No, what they did in 2011 was they tried, first of all, to get a lot of people to cash settle. The other thing I wanted to bring up before I forget was there was this propaganda article that came out by Reuters on Friday, April 3rd, called Growing New York Gold Stockpile Eases Fear of Shortages. And basically the entire article was spin and lies and propaganda about how much gold there is available for delivery, except for the only piece of truth in the entire article was the one line there that you can see on your screen, that 24,489 contracts equivalent to 2.4 million ounces for April delivery have been redeemed for metal, the highest monthly total since at least 2011. CME data shows. So that was the only piece of truth in the entire freaking article. And the article is quite a few pages. It's just ridiculous about all the lies that the mainstream financial media and mainstream media and Wall Street and the banks will say about gold and silver, the market, the gold and silver market. And I'm using air quotes, the gold and silver market in air quotes. Silver Stackers sends $10 super chat. Well, $9.99. Thanks for the info. Keep up the hard work. You're welcome. Thank you for the super chat, Greg. I appreciate it. Daniel sends a $5 super chat. He reminds everyone to smash the like button. So, thank you, Daniel. Okay, we had a pretty big rally in some of the gold stocks. Some of the gold stocks popped pretty nice. Sandstorm Gold was up 7.52%. Pan American Silver was up another 7.6%. Some of the other gold stocks did not rally nearly as much. Those appear to be the big gainers. Oh, First Majestic Silver popped 8.1%. Interesting, considering that Mexico doesn't allow silver mining and First Majestic Silver's mines are all in Mexico. I don't know about that one. I guess people are assuming that the shutdown in Mexico for silver mines is not going to last that long. I mean, at this point, we really don't know how long it's going to last, but in 2010 and 11, for those of you that are new to the gold and silver market, they did change the rules a lot for margin requirements, for delivery, trying to trick people into settling for cash, for futures contracts so they wouldn't take the metal. At one point, there was a number of different articles and sources out there that people were getting paid 80% cash premiums to not take delivery of physical silver. This was 2011. So we'll see what types of new games they're playing. I believe the New York Mercantile Exchange, the COMEX and the CME have claimed that they have plenty of sourcing available from refiners outside of their normal range and that they're going to change the delivery bars. But honestly, I really don't trust them because of the spin that was in that article and just years and years of lies and fines. And even most people aren't aware of this, even the CFTC fined JP Morgan for lying about their commitment of traders data. So the people like Ted Butler and some of those others who follow the commitment of traders extensively, I would take everything in there with a grain of salt, because JP Morgan has been extensively fined for misreporting their commitment of traders data for gold and silver in the past by the CFTC. That was like one of the few good things the CFTC has actually done. Although now they are working one on a RICO case. We'll see what information comes out, because I was covering that 6 or 7 months ago, that all this information was coming out about lower level traders and they were being rolled up. So we'll see what becomes of that. I haven't seen any news stories about the RICO case for the JP Morgan traders that the Department of Justice was working on. So I haven't seen any news stories in at least a month or two. So we'll see if any news stories comes out. If any news stories do come out, I will do another show on it. Thomas asks if SLV is a buy. Unless you're a day trader or a short-term trader, SLV is not a buy. It is not a good exposure to silver. It is for day traders and paper traders only. If you want the actual metal, there is no redemption for SLV. The Sprott Physical Silver Trust, the Sprott Central Fund of Canada, those actually have redemptions, although I think the amount of redemption, the amount of units you have to own to get redemption is much higher. So if you're a day trader, if you're a paper trader and want paper exposure to SLV and GLD, and then you can hit your sell button after you get your gains, then okay, those are day trading instruments. But if you're a stacker, if you want physical metal, then no, those are bad. Really, really bad. Excuse me. Moving my waters around here. Okay, so I think the discrepancy, unless the mines come back online fairly soon, and we just saw one mine come back online, a pretty large one, announcements today from Yamana Gold, the Cerro Moro gold and silver mine came back online in Argentina. That just came back online today, so Sandstorm Gold has their silver stream back online. That idiot over on Seeking Alpha who is calling me by names, my god, that guy's a loser. I won't name his name, but that guy's unbelievable. He was recommending Transocean as a turnaround value play 2 months ago with predicting higher oil prices. What a genius there. No wonder he makes less than $50 per article for all the crap he cranks out. Yeah, he named me specifically in his Sandstorm Gold article and started calling me names. What a little child. He calls me a child. I'm almost 40 years old. What an immature little baby. Unbelievable. Some people are like kids in adults' bodies. I'm just avoiding that drama. Okay, one more super chat. Thank you, JB Weld. Are you a Patreon account contributor yet? There is a ton behind the paywall. Okay, any comment on JP Morgan's statement today about the impact on the economy being worse than 2008, and yet the market still went up today? The market is pricing in more. First of all, there was manipulation at the end of the stock market close. So there was some type of big buyer. Maybe it was the U.S. Treasury General Account or the Exchange Stabilization Fund or one of the Plunge Protection Team groups. Who knows? But the market had an unbelievable rally there towards the close, another manipulation rally. So the more the central bankers are willing to flood the asset markets with fiat currency and credit, the higher in theory that the asset prices could start to rally, and the more the divergence or distortions between that and economic reality. Jim Chanos was talking about this in a long CNBC interview recently. So the real economic data is going to get a lot worse. The real economic data is going to get a lot worse. I see no evidence that oil demand's going to rally yet. If I do, I'll do a show on it, or there'll be a Patreon account article. Jonathan asks, how much premiums on physical? So I expect the real economy. I think Trump's totally lying about how we're only a week or two away from JP Morgan was also saying that in 2 weeks, or one of the investment banks, it might have been JP Morgan, was saying in 2 weeks that we could start to have a soft opening of the economy. I think Trump might have been saying that too today. Unbelievable. Virginia has a stay-at-home order until June. I mean, there's a lot of states that have stay-at-home orders for all through April, some of them in May. Virginia has through June, part of June at least. So I don't know what reality they're looking at. They're looking at models. They're looking at mathematical models that are no better, probably even worse, than the economic models that the Bureau of Labor Statistics and other governments use to lie with economic propaganda. Okay, Jonathan Super Chat. He is a Patreon account contributor. Thank you, Jonathan. How much premiums on physical metal is too high? Well, Jonathan, I would ask you a question. How much physical metal do you already own? Do you think you already own a pretty good amount? Because if you already own a pretty good amount, you don't need to pay high premiums. So if you don't have any position, if you need to start a position with some metal, maybe you buy a little bit at these premiums. But personally, I would not want to, in my opinion, I would not want to pay a lot of premiums right now. But if I didn't have a position, I already own some physical silver. But if I didn't own any silver, I might want to start a small position now, and pay a little bit of the premiums. But I would not, again, do not buy all of your position at once. Someone's going to send me an email telling me that they listened to this podcast and they went out and bought tens of thousands of dollars of physical gold and silver all at the same time and paid the absolute highest premiums. And even though I didn't say that, they're going to send me a 10-page email asking me what they should do and if I could help fix their financial mess for free. So it just depends how much physical metal you already own. If you want to add to your stack a little bit, in my opinion, I think that's okay. I would not want to pay super high premiums, though, all the time. Because, I don't know, a month, couple weeks, a month or so from now, the silver mines could be back online, the refineries could be back online, and the premiums could drop. But the paper silver price may move up, but the premiums might drop. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for tonight's show. I have article links that will be in the information and description section. I'll also label the Reuters article as propaganda gold article, because there's really nothing useful in there except for one sentence. Literally, they spent 2 pages of garbage spinning how there's plenty of metal and there's nothing to worry about. And then in there in the one sentence is what you see there on your screen, that there was the highest monthly total redeemed for April delivery since 2011. So it's unbelievable how much they obfuscate and lie and distort things, the media does. And that's why we have problems with the coronavirus too, because the media spent, over a month on Trump impeachment instead of covering the coronavirus. The media is unbelievable. The media, if they actually would have been paying attention to what was really happening in China, because the media is probably getting a paycheck from the Chinese Communist Party. Either they're scared of the CCP or they're on the payroll. So they didn't report it accurately, and people didn't get the warning they should have. And that's one of the reasons why we're in the mess we're in. The media deserves a big, big blame, because they wasted so much. The Trump impeachment coverage for over a month was 24/7, 365, and then they're like, oh, China has some coronavirus cases. And then, okay, back to Trump. Back to Trump impeachment. We're going to cover this from every angle. Just ridiculous. So, the coronavirus, to sum everything up here last minute or two of the show, the coronavirus has caused an unexpected tailwind for gold and silver prices. It is causing refineries to temporarily shut down, miners to temporarily shut down. It has taken off a lot of silver offline, which, considering there's not a lot of industrial demand for silver right now, to my knowledge, this is actually propping up the silver price. The investment demand is clearly growing a lot. I haven't seen any exact data, but I think one estimate I saw was maybe 10x. The amount of investment demand is up 10x for silver, for physical silver, so it's up a lot. Now, if anyone has any studies on the exact amount of investment demand for silver, you can email them. If you're a Patreon, you can send me a message over on Patreon. I'll cover that on another show if there's an exact study with the amount of investment demand that it's up.